Hi guys, this is the favorite girl band, the Band Beca. Yeah.
If someone is in your business,
in your business.
Watch your mouth.
Yeah.
Watch your mouth.
In the year 2016, the Kenyan music scene was just becoming a little bit interesting with the return of Nyashinski, the booming era of Kapuka genre, Live and Die in Africa album, and the peak of Coke Studio. This was just a great year. Personally, I was a Form 2 student who was very cheeky. I smuggled a phone into school just to watch Band Beca during the night. I was just a fan, and so are you. So let's reminisce the olden days. In the vibrant heart of Nairobi, where the rhythm of life pulses through every street, two talented women crossed paths, setting the stage for a musical journey that would captivate a nation. Becky Sangolo and Carol Kamweru, both alumni of the esteemed Sauti Academy, a renowned music school for nurturing Kenya's brightest talents, found each other in a shared passion and vision. They gave us multiple hits, and these hits we saw them ourselves. I'm talking about Toka, Ride or Die, Brother, Watch Your Mouth, Kindani Ndani, Tonight featuring Petra, 1 2 3 4, and many other collabos. In a way, I would say they were the perfect girl band for Kenya. Band Beca's unexpected meeting at Sauti Academy led to the birth of Band Beca in 2014, a name that cleverly intertwines their own, B from Becky and Ka from Carol, harmonizing their actual beginnings.
No, actually, people should know. I am Caroline. She is Becky. She's the bear and the car. It's very important.
And we're not three.
Yeah, Band Beca is just us. And when there's a band, it's the band, but we are the main artists in Band Beca. So, Becky, Carol.
From Band Beca's birth, Band Beca showcased a harmonious blend of vocals and charisma. Their debut single Toka, released in 2015, was a bold introduction. Addressing societal issues with a catchy beat that resonated with many, the initial success was a clear indicator of the duo's potential to make waves in the Kenyan music scene. Building on their momentum, Band Beca released Brother in 2016, a track that became an anthem for many and solidified their place in the industry. Their unique sound and relatable lyrics caught the attention of producers at Coke Studio Africa, leading to their participation in the show's 2017 edition, and they shared the stage with other great African artists, the likes of Olamide. So, what happened to Band Beca? Did they fall? Why did they split? Where are they, and what are they doing now? These are the questions that have been lingering in the minds of Kenyans. Welcome to the story of Band Beca. This is the Truth Lab. If you are enjoying the video, please subscribe and help me get to 1,000 subscribers. You can also like and share. Before they hit the music scene in 2016, Band Beca was not hiding. They were BGVs, and by this I mean they were background vocalists for several artists such as Waire, Camp Mula, Reddy and Weasel among others. So they had kind of some experience. As for Becky, she started singing at the age of 6 while working with her father in the studio, and as for Carol, she started singing in class 8 during the singing competitions. It is easy to tell that they both had a passion for music, and this is why they met at Sauti Academy.
After high school, Sauti Academy popped up in the newspapers, and I was let me go. Yeah, actually, I saw Waidera, and then I saw her interview, and then I actually used to be a big fan of Waidera, by the way.
After their first few hits in 2016, that is Toka and Brother, they were invited to Coke Studio, and here they performed alongside Olamide and AKA, and they had a really nice time. Here, they were showing themselves to the world, and this was something that Kenyans were really loving. Band Beca was now becoming a thing. From that moment, their career took off, landing them performances at major events such as Nairobi Market Fashion Show and the prestigious Morgan Heritage Extravaganza. Their talent and stage presence did not go unnoticed. In fact, MTV Base recognized their potential early on, ranking them fourth among the top acts to watch that year. They shared this recognition with other rising Kenyan stars, including Timmy Tidat, Calligraph Jones, and many other acts. But Band Beca appeared fourth on the list, overshadowing all Kenyan artists. For this story, I decided not to be selfish, and I asked among my friends who else was a fan of Band Beca, and I found someone who loved Band Beca so much that she was even willing to narrate part of the story. So, fast forward to 2020.
In 2020, Kenya, just like the rest of the world, faced COVID-19, and with it came lockdowns and curfews. But while businesses struggled, something unexpected happened. The digital entertainment space exploded. People were locked in, endlessly scrolling, binge-watching, and consuming content like never before. It was the golden age for content creators. You see, when life gives you lemons, some people make lemonade, but Eric Omondi, he made wife material. Just imagine this. A cocktail of stunning women. You know how beautiful Kenyan women are. A controversial top comedian, a sprinkle of romance, and of course drama. Lots of it. Kenyans were loving it, definitely loving the show. It racked up views, trends, and headlines, becoming one of the biggest online reality shows of the time. To be honest, at first I didn't think much of it. I mean, yet another Eric Omondi stunt. We had already seen it all. But then something huge happened. Band Beca entered the chart. Yes, Band Beca, the same duo that came in with Brother Kindanindani that already had me on a chokehold at this time. Yes, seeing Carol and Becky on wife material was honestly unexpected. It was kinda shocking to admit. Shakila expected. The rest, yeah, okay. But Band Beca, that was a plot twist no one saw coming.
Hawa ni mabibi zangu jameni. Msikuje mkafinya macho na kuanza kusema oh bala. Na Becky wa Band Beca, sauti yake nyororo inatawanyoka pangoni inaleta mulangoni. Na Karo wa Band Beca ananikunywa mpumpumpu, anachukua anaweka.
Now, as a diehard fan, there was no way I was skipping this show. I had to see it for myself. I had to see what they were bringing to the show. But also, just like you, I had questions. How would this play out? Would it elevate their brand? Or was this a gamble that would end up backfiring? Would the Band Beca we knew and loved fit into this crazy reality show world? One thing I was certain about is that this was going to get interesting. So I grabbed a bowl of my favorite snack, Numbers, got comfy, and began watching. Meanwhile, Twitter was on fire, with comments coming in hot. For example, Eric Omondi's wife material is utter nonsense, and I'm disgusted at the whole thing. And Band Beca have degraded themselves participating in such trash. There, I've said it. Despite this backlash, the girls forged on, fully immersing themselves in the show. But hold on, we're moving too fast. Let's rewind for a second. Whose idea was this in the first place? Well, turns out this was actually Becky's idea. She was the mastermind behind it all. She came across the show online, got intrigued, and thought, why not? But instead of going solo, she pitched the idea to her bandmate, Carol. And together, they made the bold decision to join the show as a package deal. Yes, you had that right. 2 for 1. Here's a clip of them trying to convince Eric Omondi that they were the best pick.
Tonight, I'm feeling kinda lonely. Honey, some ghetto for darling. My favorite song is playing in the background, so come around. Tonight, I'm feeling kinda lonely. Honey, some ghetto for darling. My favorite song is playing in the background, so come around.
Okay.
Oh my God. No, every night.
Yeah, every night. Imagine
any song.
when you have issues,
during the day, una come to home, imagine. Una chill. You forget everything.
Hii ni fairy tale ama ni life has happened.
I can imagine a fairy tale. Let's make it happen. Why not? In this world, now
You can make it happen.
everything can happen
just
in this
pick
world
us.
right now. Let's do it.
Joining wife material, Band Beca had big dreams. They weren't just there for the drama, they had a strategy. One, since they had entered as a duo, they hoped Eric would choose them both as a package rather than picking one over the other. Two, they had upcoming projects, and what better way to get free publicity than through one of the hottest reality shows in Kenya? And three, they saw this as a golden opportunity to reach new audiences and take their brand to the next level. It was definitely a bold move, no doubt, but would it pay off? In the show Wife Material, apart from the catfights, the drama, and the heated competition, things were moving along just fine for Band Beca until Eric Omondi shattered their dreams. Instead of choosing Band Beca as a package deal, as they had hoped, he chose only Caroline Kamweru, Yani Carol, as his wife. That had to sting. When asked about it in an interview, Becky didn't hold back. She expressed her disappointment and, in a moment that left many scratching their heads, simply said Carol was her girl. Wait, let's pause for a moment and unpack this. Band Beca had always been an amazing musical duo. But let's be real, they also had their fair share of controversies. Over time, fans started noticing something about them. Their bond, it was a little bit different. The way they spoke about each other, the way they looked at each other, how they referred to each other, their behavior around each other. I could go on, but I know you get the point. It was giving Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo vibes. People started talking, whispering, speculating. Were they just a duo? Were they just sisters, best friends? Or was there more to it? To be fair, they never publicly admitted to these rumors and speculations, but at times their actions spoke louder than words. Take, for example, the infamous kissing scene in their song Watch Your Mouth. When asked about it later, they described it as a way of embracing womanhood and empowering women. Okay, but let's be honest, there are plenty of other ways to empower women that don't necessarily involve locking lips on screen. So now the million-dollar question remains, were they two in a relationship? And more importantly, was Becky actually heartbroken when Eric chose Carol? One, maybe because Carol was her girl. Two, maybe because she was the one who brought up the idea of joining the show in the first place. And three, well, we'll get to that. In an interview, the ladies once described their first meeting as love at first sight.
We met at Sochi Academy.
Yes, you heard that right, love at first sight. Now, I want you to be honest with me and tell me, am I reading too much into this, or was there really something more? If you thought Becky was the only one locking lips with Carol, think again. Becky wasn't the only one. Eric Omondi was right there in the mix. After choosing Carol as his wife, the two went all in, a whole wedding and a honeymoon. And yes, of course, they did kiss. When Carol was later asked about it in an interview, she described it as a happy moment for herself and even admitted that part of it felt real, despite the whole thing being scripted. Becky, who was right there, was also somewhat not having it. She immediately turned to Carol and asked,
Some part of it was,
I hope not too real, babe.
of course not.
Guys.
Now, remember that third reason as to why Becky may have gotten heartbroken that we didn't dive into? Let's dive into it. Fast forward to 2021, Eric Omondi dropped a bombshell. he casually listed all the women he had dated. And guess what? Both Carol and Becky made the list.
Na pale West Material ilikuwa kunoma sana. Shakila, Carol, Babe Shaz, Maria, Mwikali, Sheila, Becky wa Band Beca, Manzi wa Kibila, Nadia, Charlene, Gigi Mani, yule wa Tanzania, mambo moto.
And clearly, something went down behind the curtains that we weren't meant to see. Could this be the third reason? Could it be that Eric Omondi somehow got in between these two ladies? According to Becky and Carol, they achieved their goal with the show. Their mission was to use the show to push their music, and in a way it worked. Their songs gained more streams, their names stayed in conversations, and their brand got some much needed attention. But here's the thing, was it enough? Before joining Wife Material, their last song, Kindanindani, released in mid-2020, had almost 200k views, a decent number, but it's not enough. In a cutthroat music industry, this, as we know, might not suffice. Fast forward to January 2021, fresh out of Wife Material, they dropped Watch Your Mouth, a direct clapback to their critics. The song did well, racking up 153k views. Not bad. But here's the catch, it was part of their album Kavala, and the rest of the songs, they didn't even come close to Watch Your Mouth in terms of views. And their next projects, the same story. So was the hype from the show enough to sustain them in the industry? From where I'm standing, it doesn't look like it. Now let's get real. We've all heard the saying, bad publicity is still publicity. In fact, Band Beca wholeheartedly embraced this saying. But let's also not forget another one. A good reputation is worth more than gold. For Band Beca joining Wife Material, it wasn't just about gaining views. It also cost them something. For some fans, this was a low move, a sellout moment that alienated part of their audience. And as if that wasn't enough, the show's publicity came with scrutiny. People weren't just talking about their music, they were dissecting their bond, their friendship, their every move. The rumors about their relationship intensified, turning them into a controversy rather than just artists. And as you can imagine, Eric Omondi wasn't making it any easier by dropping the bombshell that he did when he casually claimed that he got intimate with both of them during the show period. That was definitely a blow. Whether true or not, it did tarnish their image. Suddenly, they weren't just the talented girl group hustling their way up that everyone admired. They were now caught up in the mess of reality show drama. It was like their musical identity got buried under controversy, speculation, and scandal. As if this wasn't enough, the trolling came in full force. Not just about their music choices or their decision to join the show, but even about things they had no control over. Their bodies, their looks, everything was put under a microscope. By joining the show that was heavily sexualized, they opened themselves up to intense body shaming. And let's be real, no one deserves that. So the final question is, did Wife Material really meet their goal, or did it cost them more than it gave? I'll let you be the judge. But despite all that had happened, Band Beca wasn't ready to back down. They spoke about new projects, future plans, and a music career they were determined to keep alive. They came with their album Kavala and then set the stage for their next big move, Beca Fever. Now, this was initially supposed to be a power-packed album featuring 8 tracks with Kenya's top female artists, the likes of Saru, Sanaipei, Femi One, Fenagitu, and more. But when it finally dropped, only 2 songs made it to YouTube, a collabo with Saru and a collabo with Femi One, garnering a total of just 21,000 views. And then Band Beca did something no one was expecting. They chose to go gospel. Releasing an EP by the name Beca Praise, the two dropped 2 songs, Yuko and Niwewe, which of course showcase a different side of them and definitely got people talking. Had they finally left secular music behind? Was this a rebrand? Did Wife Material or the events in Wife Material push them into gospel? In an interview, they cleared the air, saying the songs were just a reflection of their spiritual world and not a full switch to gospel. However, some fans did wish they did transition to gospel music. And to be honest, they sounded incredible in gospel. Their voices blended perfectly with the message, like they were meant to do it all along.
Bwana niko mbele zako, mikono nainua, natambua ufalme wako, Hosana.
Till date, I always ask myself why they never continued on this path. But just when we thought they were gearing up for their next big move, the music stopped. Band Beca had teased plans for another album, this time featuring top male artists, but sadly, it never happened.
And in late 2022 into 2023, Becky relocated and she went to Poland. And in Poland, she became lucky enough to participate in The Voice of Poland, and she finished as number 3. While Carol, she remained in the country. She has been doing covers on TikTok. Here and there, once in a while you will spot her. And that has been the story of Band Beca. If you have enjoyed till this point, ensure that you like the video, share and subscribe. And then see you next time in my next video.